you're a cloud of suspicion that God sees all your spots and blemishes. No, indeed, no. He knows it, but that ain't what he's looking for.
Come on now.
That's what you see. And you are plagued by your own knowledge of your flaws and fallacies, but God does not see as man sees, so he's not affected and plagued by your fallacies and faults. He's not looking for the worst in you. He saw the best in me.
Yes, come on now.
When everything, you know,
Yes, come on.
could only see the worst in me.
Yes, come on.
You know that song?
Yes.
I would, but I don't want to mess up my sermon. I contend with you today. God sees himself when he looks at you. Now I know we made in the image of God and Genesis, and then we, fall and all of this, and you said the image was flawed and marred and so forth and so on. There's a lot of stuff to support it, how we got there, and I got a scripture to address a little bit of that, but that ain't my focus today. God sees himself. That man in the mirror. Here's what was said. This is by some of the early fathers in the early centuries, first couple of centuries who wrote. Origen, Ignatius, how they call some of those names. Tertullian, those who had immediate access to. If they weren't with the apostles, they were right after the apostles, so that they were operating on some of the first-hand knowledge and information that was being stated, written at that time. They started to write and stuff, and so forth and so on. This was what was said in a lot of the writings concerning this subject. Look at this. And there's a doctrine to affirm this. God sees the highest good of each life each day. At the end of the day, God does not tell you what you did wrong. He only remembers and sees the best that you did that day.
Come on now. Yes.
I'm going to go over here and say it because I want you to get this. At the end of the day, he does not tell you how much you did wrong. He only sees your highest good for that day.
Thank you, Lord.
That's good.
Now I'm going to talk to my middle. This is my church right here. At the end of the day, God does not tell you all that you did wrong. Put it in the bag to see how much it weighs. He only remembers the highest good that you did that day. See, that changes your whole thinking. Right now, your mind is starting to shift and you're getting another understanding about who God is.
Come on now.
Hey. Thank you, Father.
Yes, Lord.
They say God sees the highest good of each life, each day, because only the good gives him joy.
Come on.
There is no joy
Come on.
in calculating how much you did wrong.
Come on now.
Joy can only come from that which you did right, good, that which was beautiful, that which was great. And then the doctrine of God affirmed things, the doctrine of impassibility is others. Impassibility say that God, this is a key doctrine about God, that God cannot be causally affected or negatively affected by anything external to himself. He cannot be negatively affected. He cannot be negatively affected He cannot be negatively affected by anything external to himself. He cannot causally or be negatively affected by anything. And your bad will negatively affect God. But God cannot be negatively affected. So if he cannot be negatively affected, then the only thing he can do is receive joy. And bad don't give him joy. Only your best gives him joy. Now, he does not react to anything, but he can respond to that which is good. Why? Because God is good. And since he's a good God, he can receive good. Only good gives him joy. Your worst doesn't give God joy. So at the end of the day, God receives joy from each life. And the joy is the best that life gave that day. And I said it last week, that's why I preach in a certain pattern, in certain ways. When you have done your best, that's good enough for God. And if my best doesn't suit you, you know where you take that.
Yes. All right.
It doesn't, you're not my judge. At the end of the day,
Yes, sir.
God only receives the highest good, the best that life gave that day. And his doctrine, the doctrine affirms that he can only see the highest, because anything less would be a negative effect. He cannot be negatively, causally affected by some external thing. He feels pain, sorrow, but it's not a negative. It's identity. I can identify with what you're going through. But we're talking about joy now. Only good will give joy to him. He receives joy each life, each day. But that life gives its best, whatever it is, for that day. Say thank you.
Thank you,
I
Lord.
want you to see this
Thank
right
you,
now.
Lord.